Hey everybody, welcome to tentatively titled Players Code Talks Wrestling.
Players code.
I, there he is. I don't know if I'd introduce him or if he was just gonna do it.
Dude, I made a
I am
penis with
Caleb,
my audio.
and it begins. And this is Mike. You all know us from the Players Code channel. Hopefully, if you watch, if you don't, why aren't you watching? To start off, just to say, Mike and I are avid professional wrestling fans. I've been watching for a long time. I missed a lot and have just previously come back. Mike, you've been on and off, or you've been kind of consistent, haven't you?
What happened with me was when I was younger, like fucking, I don't know, 6 years old. My dad was a big WWF fan, and so I remember watching it as a kid and seeing Kane with his mask and shit like that, and thinking, man, this guy's badass. And then moved. We lost cable and stuff like that, so I stopped frequently watching wrestling. And I came back, I guess, near the end of the Ruthless Aggression era, but like I looked up stuff like to kind of catch me up. So I caught a lot of the Ruthless Aggression, fell in love with it, and so I guess that's where I sit with it. I watched it up until what was the last big thing that happened before I stopped watching? You talk. I'll think.
Oh, okay. Like Mike, I feel old now. My dad was a huge wrestling fan. He used to watch guys like Jimmy Superfly, in Portland every weekend, and so he got me into wrestling. I caught the tail end of the Attitude Era, so probably 98, 99, and then I was pretty much with wrestling all the way up until, gosh, I'd have to say 2006. And then I kind of lost interest, and a lot of people say it kind of went down the drain. And I just recently came back. I came back, I'd say maybe 3 weeks before WrestleMania 30, and I have been religiously watching. And you know, we decided to watch the stuff, review it, give our takes on everything, and hopefully people will enjoy it and agree with us or not agree with us and create some conversation. One warning we are going to give, and we're going to give it once at the beginning of probably every show, but we're going to give it only once. Everything we talk about will be outside of kayfabe. If you don't know what kayfabe is, yes, I'm going to be that hipster douche. If you don't know what kayfabe is, you should probably turn this off. We're going to be discussing wrestling, the behind the scenes stuff as we know it. So call us smarks if you want to. That's basically how we're going to be talking about wrestling.
Way to sound like a
Not in a
hipster douche,
bad way,
Caleb.
but in a informed way. So that's your warning. So yeah, Mike, should we start with the show, or are you still thinking?
Well, I remembered. I stopped watching around. Now this is the last 3 times I stopped and started. I stopped the first time when Chris Benoit passed away, and then I started back up again around the time when they were kind of trying to merge the whole Raw Super Show thing, and when NXT was still a seasonal thing on Sci-Fi.
Right, right.
And then I stopped watching it again for a while, and then when I started watching it up again before you pulled me back in around WrestleMania, the last thing that had happened was Money in the Bank, and so I was watching the Sandow and Rhodes feud and the whole rising and like the beginning of Randy Orton getting the title, and pretty much I guess the Yes movement. I stopped watching it right as that was kicking off.
We will probably glaze over kind of some of that stuff about the Yes movement and about all that. And don't worry, we will get to Damian Sandow. Dear God,
You
that was a
and
thing.
that guy.
Well, no. I'm talking about what happened on Raw. The Damian Sandow thing. I don't know if you went that far down into my notes.
Well, I
dear
read them
God.
all. I skimmed them. You're gonna have to give me some reminders.
I will. All right, so this one. So we figured we got a schedule. We're tentatively thinking of a schedule, but because we decided to start on a pay-per-view week, this Sunday is Extreme Rules. So we're gonna do a show for each show. So tonight will be Raw, which happened the 28th of March. So that was just this past Monday. SmackDown, which is the 2nd of May, and then Extreme Rules, which is the 4th of May, if my dates aren't wrong. So, to kick it off, Raw opens up. John Cena's in the steel cage, just like Bray Wyatt was the week before. He's cutting a promo. This is coming off the heels of the 3-on-1 beatdown that the Wyatts gave Cena after the WWE Universe voted for Cena to face all 3 Wyatts. It was a fucking 15-minute beating of the Wyatts on Cena, but then of course Cena goes Super Cena and almost wins the match, and then there's disqualification. It was a bunch of bullshit. We could do a whole episode on that. But so he's cutting a promo asking why the universe has turned on him, why do people want to see him fail, blah blah blah. Kind of like early heel type stuff, like, the fans no longer love me, why am I here? He starts naming off people that the fans actually like to get a pop, which was kind of funny. He named off Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, a couple other names. And so yeah, I mean, so he's doing his whole, he's not very Cena-y at this point. He actually looks, like more of a human being. And then the lights go out, and all you hear are children start to sing, he's got the whole world in his hands, which I think the crowd's starting to get tired of, which is probably the point, because they don't want people to cheer the heels. Although there's a whole thing about heels and baby faces in this era that we could get to as well. But anyway, so kids are singing.
Hold on. I'm gonna cut you off right there.
So, go for it.
I guess it's the perfect. It's the perfect segue.
All right, go for it.
We'll tackle this in bits, so that way we're just not repeating the whole show to you in one go.
Yeah, no. That I figured we'd cover the segment of what happened, and then we would give our thoughts and our opinions.
So what I feel has happened in the WWE recently is that fans, a lot of negativity is towards the whole PG era. A lot of people hate that the WWE is PG, and John Cena will never be heel mainly because of that whole PG stuff. And
well, that and the man's a walking merch table.
Well, once again, because kids love him because he is the face of the PG era.
That's true.
And
they're never they released a stat. It was a week or two ago that Cena is like double the person who is second behind him in merch sales, and I think it's Daniel Bryan.
Huh.
Cena's numbers double Daniel Bryan's.
All right, so back to what I was saying. The closest we get in this era away from the whole PG stuff that they've been dishing out is the heels. The heels kind of, in a way, aren't allowed to be PG. They kind of have to be a bad guy, so they have to play outside of the book a bit. So that would be my guess as to why everybody chants for the heels so much these days, is because that's the closest they're going to get for now to, ruthless aggression or attitude.
Yeah, and I'm going to toss out a non-sponsored thing right now. If anybody listening is half interested in wrestling, or was half interested in wrestling, go to Reddit, reddit.com, r/squared circle. Tons of discussions about what's going on in wrestling, tons of things that happened in wrestling, information. It's what got me back in, because I went to Squared Circle and was completely captivated by what was going on there and everybody's discussion and all that stuff. So go there. It's amazing. Anyway, what we have, Mike, today is we have a lot of tweeners. We have a lot of guys who fall between good and bad. But the problem is we have people that act like heels, but they don't win like heels. We don't have guys winning by disqualification. We don't have guys winning by countout. We don't have guys cheating to win. Or if we do, it's very few and far between. We've got guys acting like assholes, but still winning clean. So the fans like these characters, like Bad News Barrett, like Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's kind of a different case because he does have the Wyatt family, but there's others I can't think of. But also of the biggest case of a tweener, Stone Cold Steve Austin. One of the biggest anti-hero faces, and I put that in quotes, of the Attitude Era, probably the biggest. But Stone Cold wasn't a, clean cut by the book guy. The dude drank beer, flipped off fans, and gave stunners to the boss for 4 or 5 years.
Just a quick little side note. I was not a big fan of Stone Cold little bitch phase during the Ruthless Aggression time. I don't know if you knew about that rivalry he had with Kurt Angle, where Kurt Angle actually made the unbreakable Stone Cold Steve Austin cry and apologize to him. And
I remember.
I was not a fan of that.
I remember watching the Stone Cold documentary, and I can't remember if this was the same time period, and I think it was. But Stone Cold, I remember saying in that documentary, him turning heel was the worst decision of his career.
Yeah, I can see why.
I completely agree with that. But anyway, what we have is a bunch of tweeners. We have a bunch of people that are assholes, but they don't do anything to make the fans hate them. They don't make themselves hateable. They try, but for some reason the fans just eat it up and love it because they're well-developed characters. And it's always been easier to develop a darker, meaner asshole character than it is to develop a nice guy character, even though there are exceptions to every rule. So, I think that's why a lot of people are cheering for Bray and singing along with it. Also fits into his gimmick of the cult leader, which is, it can be a shitty gimmick if not done right, but Bray Wyatt just comes out and kills it every night. That dude writes his own promos, from what I've heard, and it's incredible to listen to him speak, and his in-ring ability is pretty damn good too. I kind of wish he wasn't in a fucking rivalry with Cena, but it's a way to put him over. So
what I did see from Bray Wyatt at the end of I think it was last week, dude freaking turned into like a spider in the ring. Just started walking.
Oh, have you not seen that crab walk?
No, I've not. It was my first experience with his crab walk, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, that's his signature setup. It's the upside down hang from the turnbuckle into the crab walk, and then he usually sets up into Sister Abigail from there.
I see.
Dude, that's fucking creepy.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Tell you right now.
It's interesting.
It's interesting, and it's good on fucking Bray for being athletic. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. Fucking Husky Harris.
Fucking dude. Yeah, fucking shout out to Husky Harris. But yeah, so Bray's singing "Whole World in His Hands" with the children. He leads them down to the ring. They encircle the ring. Cena's still inside the cage, and the lights go out. Lights go back on, and all the kids are wearing the lamb masks. Really well done. Fucking creepy segment, I really have to admit. Also, the WWE has struck gold with probably the cheapest fucking merchandise piece ever. Are these just plastic lamb masks? And you probably can get them for 15 cents from somewhere, and they can sell them for $20.
Yeah.
But it was well done, and it was creepy, and it like Cena actually sold it very well as looking shocked and looking like he looked almost physically ill, because they had cut something before the show had started that Cena had just fulfilled like wishes number 401, 2, and 3, and 3 of those kids were there tonight. So they established his link with children before this happened, or it might have been after. But anyway, they made sure to drive that home, and then this happens, and he looked almost physically ill by it. And he actually refused, later on in the show, he refused to give an interview, which was not Cena-like at all. Now, granted, we'll get to the end of the show when we get there. But I like this segment. I really enjoy Bray Wyatt. I know you know this. I just enjoy the psychology. I enjoy, he's a good wrestler. He's great on the mic. And he's just got a character that just fits. It just works. And he works it. But yeah, so after hearing all that, do you agree? Do you disagree?
Well, I was still watching right when the Wyatt family debuted, and okay. I my only issue with the Wyatt family is, I guess, they had an opportunity wasted with them. They debuted with this whole message being sent to Kane, and Kane obviously being another one of those creepy members of the WWE. I felt the WWE actually it would have been a good move to have Kane join the Wyatt family. I mean, if not as a permanent member, just for a little while. I feel that would have made a much better rivalry than just Kane getting pissed off that they cheap shot him. It would have been a really good, preview to their whole cult gimmick, being able to convert somebody like Kane. I thought that was an opportunity missed.
Well, when they did that to Daniel Bryan, when they indoctrinated Daniel Bryan, a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people thought it was stupid. It didn't make any sense.
Well, that's Daniel Bryan. From what you're saying, that's a different thing.
It's true, and what you're saying, Kane would have made more sense. I would agree with you on that.
Yeah. I felt it was an opportunity missed.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, Kane is long time, worker for the WWE, long time big guy. He was around before I started watching wrestling. And, to convert somebody like that, even though he's already evil as fuck, would have been kind of cool, and would have at least given Bray a little bit of power.
And on top of it would have been a much better treatment for a guy like Kane than what they did to him with the whole corporate Kane thing.
That was short lived.
I am a fan. I mean, I may get hate for this, I don't know, but I am a fan of the corporation. I am a big Triple H fan. I'm a big Evolution fan. Have been since I was a kid.
Oh, you mean the Authority?
The Authority. My bad.
You got to, yeah, because the corporation was a big stable back in the Attitude Era.
I was a fan of them too when they were around.
Same. I like.
I guess I've always been a big heel guy, and seeing Kane go all corporate, I mean, I don't know. I felt if they were gonna do something stupid with Kane, they could have at least gone in a different direction. If not stupid, then cool with the whole Wyatt family thing. Yeah,
I mean, the corporate Kane thing has kind of morphed into something actually kind of interesting and kind of cool in a way. But we'll get to that in a little bit. That actually comes up pretty quick if I remember. But anyway, all right. So next up, we cut to we cut to the Wyatt thing. We come back. We've got the Usos, who I love, versus Rybaxel. So Mike, try and keep your penis in your pants here.
Hey, fuck off! I'm not a Curtis Axel fan. He did seem all right when he was an Intercontinental Champion, but Ryback was a huge missed target. Had so much potential wasted because of Super Cena. His power was over 9,000.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, we need to do a separate episode. We just cover the state of the universe and give our opinions on everything. But to sum up the last section real quick: John Cena, Bray Wyatt, steel cage on Sunday. Apparently, if John Cena loses, then Bray Wyatt takes over the world or something. I don't know. Cena's words, not mine. So Usos and Rybaxel for the tag belts. Obviously, the Usos aren't dropping the belts, 6 days before they're set to defend them against the same guys at Extreme Rules. So, same match Sunday. Basically, the match goes, it's a normal Usos Rybaxel. Jay ends up with an ankle injury, or maybe a thigh injury, but fights on. I have written down, Ryback gets really pissed and goes Kurt Angle on his singlet. He takes down both straps, which I thought was really funny. And then,
who else took down both straps? The Undertaker.
The Undertaker and Jack Swagger.
I haven't seen much of Swagger's wrestling since. Actually,
dude,
I always really kind of skipped around with the whole the Real Americans thing. I wasn't a big fan of them. I really hated their manager.
Zeb Coulter, dude's a great mouthpiece. But we'll get there because they're actually a bulk of the show. Anyway, so Usos retain obviously, and they do it with a nice blind tag. Axel goes to hit the perfect plex. I believe one of the Usos tagged in the other. Axel didn't see it. Uso hits the big splash on Axel while he's pinning the other Uso. picks up the win. It was actually kind of a cool little thing. I like the Usos. I know that WWE is not always, especially in this era, tag team action isn't exactly in the forefront of WWE.
I would disagree.
This kind of, well, I mean, you had the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. You had the Dudleys, you had the Hardys, you had Edge and Christian, you had the APA, you had, for a time, you had the New Age Outlaws. You had solid tag teams that, and now what do you have? You got the Rhodes Brothers, who we'll get to because they actually have a match later.
I actually have no idea what that. I have no idea what that stable is. Have yet to see anything with it. But I was talking about like the whole Real Americans thing, or the Shield, or the Usos, or who else is a tag team out? Or I guess Rybacksel now.
You've got Rybacksel. You've got the Shield when they had the belts. Now they're involved in their own thing, which is probably one of the greatest things on television.
Like they have a lot of tag teams out there right now. They did have the primetime players for a while, but that did separate.
I guess it just doesn't feel like it's treated as well as it should be, and maybe they're in the process of reinstating some of that, like they are with the IC title. They're making the IC title important again, which is awesome.
Yeah, the tag team titles do seem a lot more relevant now.
Yeah. And I mean, they got the Ascension in NXT. I watched them wrestle. I just watched last week's NXT. I was actually pretty impressed with the Ascension. They took on the Usos, and I was pretty impressed with both the Usos and Ascension in that match. But we're talking about Raw. We'll stick to Raw. Come on, man, get together. So, yeah, I mean, kind of a weird give it away for free match. It wasn't. I'm sure it'll be nothing like what it'll be on Sunday, but I'm not a fan of these watch the same match you're going to pay to watch later kind of deals. Anyway, next up, I commented Adam Rose promo. Never watched him in NXT, but from his promos, I kind of like the guy. He seems kind of goofy, but it seems like kind of a gimmick that we kind of need. Because we need somebody that's cool but goofy. Because we need like a Fandango mixed with something a hell of a lot cooler than Fandango.
Okay, so I understand that Fandango is a huge, huge, I guess, popular thing right now. I don't understand it. Freaking hate it. I hate that guy. I'm not a fan of him. Not a fan of his gimmick. I could do without it. And I honestly do not want a cooler version of him. I don't want anything like him.
Well, Adam Rose's gimmick is he's a party guy. He's always partying. He's always don't be lame, be a rosebud. Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud. He's always partying. All of his promos have been him on his big party bus with lots of people, and it just seems kind of it's got a lot of energy, and I like the energy. But we'll have to see. He premieres next week on Raw, so we'll have to see how he does.
All right.
Paul Heyman keeps on being the greatest heel manager of all time, while Cesaro is still the most confused heel face ever. Yeah, that pretty much sums up. I think they looked like they didn't say anything to the crowd. They were just talking to each other. At this point, and it was just Paul Heyman being amazing.
I'm a Heyman guy.
Dude, Paul Heyman is amazing. He basically, I don't remember if this was the match with
Caleb?
Cesaro. Yeah, it is.
Take it. You didn't hear me.
What'd you say? Sorry, my headset kind of crapped out a little.
I said I'm a Heyman guy.
You better be.
Yeah,
because
I have been a Heyman guy for a while now. Sadly, was not happy with the whole CM Punk Paul Heyman thing, but you have mixed feelings for CM Punk, and I guess I can understand why. But I am a huge CM Punk fan. Have been since he was on ECW. Like I've watched that guy's documentary. I pretty much know CM Punk has been a badass ever since Ring of Honor.
I think I have the utmost respect for CM Punk and his in-ring ability. I know the guy is incredible in the ring, and he's incredible on the microphone. And, up to this point, we still don't know why he walked out of his contract in WWE. There's people who can speculate, but we don't know why. So I'm just going to leave it at that on CM Punk. getting back to Heyman and Cesaro, so fucking confused, and it goes back to the heel face tweener argument of Paul Heyman is obviously a heel manager. He is the manager of Brock Lesnar. He comes out every week and reminds everyone that his client, Brock Lesnar, broke The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. Boo, boo, yeah, boo. But he likes to make sure that he reminds everybody. So Paul Heyman's a heel manager, totally. Cesaro comes out. He still plays to the crowd. He does the swing, the motion. He does the arm thing. It's he's acting like a face, but with this heel manager. So it's really fucking confusing for me because he just came off of being a heel with the Real Americans.
Yeah, see that was the last time I ever heard of him, so I don't really know much about Antonio Cesaro right now.
This guy is fucking incredibly strong, incredibly athletic, great in the ring. The only problem is he's Swiss. And he does speak English, but I think they have Paul Heyman as his mouthpiece to save him from having to, expose anything like that. But the dude's incredible. He is a really good wrestler. I've been really impressed with his matches. He got screwed out of going to the IC tournament final by Swagger last week. Yes. Which we'll get to that match and that whole cockamamie thing that's going on. But yeah, so I'm really confused with Paul Heyman and Cesaro, but whatever. I love them both. God, this was the thing. Titus O'Neil and Sheamus. So Sheamus comes out.
Oh, poor Titus.
And yeah, Sheamus comes out and does his, he throws up the arms, and then Titus comes up behind him and beats the shit out of him for probably a good 3 or 4 minutes. We go back in the ring, and Sheamus is in the corner. Titus gets up to go get him, and Sheamus pulls a Cena and hits the brogue kick. Pins Titus 1, 2, 3. Sheamus didn't even take his fucking shirt off for this match. I mean, I understand making a guy look strong and wanting to keep the guy looking strong, but for fuck's sake, when you get jumped before the match even starts and beaten the hell out of, you do not miraculously pull a finisher out of your ass and win the match.
Okay,
it's okay to take the fall.
Let's remember here, this is the very same guy who is the second youngest WWE champion, ever in history. Well,
yeah, I suppose. But it's one of those things. It's I know Sheamus is built as one of the top guy, the toughest guys.
Great White Sheamus.
Yeah, he's built as a super strong guy. I get that. But you can have him lose a match. Especially when he gets jumped. It's not like he went in the match and lost clean to Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil jumped him like a heel. Yeah. Titus O'Neil, the only heel that actually acts like a heel. Strangely enough. So yeah, that was shitty. Then on the commercial, Kofi Kingston cut a WWE Network promo in a suit. I thought to myself, why? And then actually thought, can I have more of corporate Kofi? That I just threw that in there because I was kind of confused by why the fuck would you put Kofi Kingston in a suit? Oh god. All right, so we're at the Damien Sandow part of the show, folks. So buckle in. If y'all remember, was it a couple years ago, Mike, when Hugh Jackman was on Raw?
But before we cut into Damien Sandow time, I would just like to backtrack a little bit to the whole Swagger and Cesaro thing.
Oh, okay. The Real Americans.
I would like us to all remember here that poor Mr. Jack Swagger is a former World Heavyweight Champion.
I would also like to remind the people that Dolph Ziggler is a former World Heavyweight Champion.
Don't even. Just don't even.
That
should have never happened. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to get hate for that as well. I honestly could care less. But Swagger, that guy came in with a lot of heat and just is... It's a sad story now. Guerrero.
Yeah. Well, not so much now. He's kind of getting picked up. Because, I mean, he's definitely getting a rub off of Heyman, who's giving the rub to Cesaro. Actually, I don't think anybody's rubbing there. I think Cesaro and Heyman are one thing, and anything they touch turns to gold right now.
Oh, man.
Heyman's rolling off of WrestleMania. Cesaro's rolling off of WrestleMania and just being one of probably the best talents right now. There's a lot of interest in them. So wherever they go right now, it's gonna bring a lot of heat and a lot of good things. So I think Swagger's in a good place right now. And Zeb Coulter is a mouthpiece. You really can't go wrong with Zeb Coulter.
I'm not a fan of that guy.
Well, he may be annoying as fuck, but he's great on the microphone.
It's just the last thing the WWE needed was a racist.
Well, they've toned down the racism a lot. There's not much racism anymore. It's basically just We the People, and that's it. And the fucking crowd, dude, they love We the People. They do it with Jack and Zeb every fucking time. They love that shit. They eat it up. But yeah, so getting back to Dolph Ziggler. If you all have watched wrestling, you probably remember Hugh Jackman coming on Raw and being a buddy with Zack Ryder. Jackman came to the ring, knocked out Dolph Ziggler with a woo, you know it. Shout out to Zack Ryder, who I don't know how far under he's been buried, but
fucking internet champion.
I think he might be down there with Sandow. So yeah, Hugh Jackman knocks out Dolph Ziggler in a match, costs him the match. I think he might have actually hurt Dolph with that punch, from what I've heard. Anyway,
dude,
so Hugh Jackman coming back to promote. Dude, he's got fucking adamantium bones. I know. But so Hugh Jackman's back to promote the new X-Men movie. He's here to bury the hatchet with Dolph Ziggler. They're in the ring. They're being buddy, whatever. Damien Sandow's music hits. Now, Damien Sandow. First off, actually, before I get there, I did have a note. Can see some of why people love Dolph. Lots of charisma and energy. He did have that in just the promo. He's got the look, and he's got the charisma and the energy, and he actually has really pretty good wrestling skill, and he sells like a motherfucker. That dude can sell wind blowing on him. He'd flop over probably 8 fucking times. But anyway, so Sandow's music hits. Damien Sandow comes out dressed like fucking Magneto, and I kid you not. It's like a zip-up hoodie that looks exactly like Magneto's like top half armor, red pants, a cape, and the hoodie has a hood that looks like Magneto's helmet. The dude is literally dressed like fucking Magneto. And I wrote, Sandow isn't buried hell. Because, like, how much further down can you get than the guy who comes out every week to bitch and moan, only to get knocked out by whoever just happens to pass by the fucking top of the ramp. Last week it was Big Show, who for no reason came down to the ring and knocked Sandow out. I actually like Damien Sandow's normal gimmick. The asshole, arrogance. He's a heel.
You're
a heel being
welcome.
A heel. You're welcome. He's a heel being a heel. I like it. But for fuck's sake, they dressed him as Magneto. And they even did the thing that, like, where he's like, I am Magneto, you will all suffer the same fate. And he puts the hand out to do the magnetism thing. And Jackman starts to, like, with the microphone, where, like, he can't control the microphone, and he starts moving towards Sandow. It was cringeworthy.
No,
so
I looked up a picture of him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, folks, if I don't, like, get a picture online and put it up or something like that, just go look it up. But, yeah, so Jackman's doing the microphone thing. He's like, I can't control it. Blah, blah, blah. And finally he goes, this is stupid. He does a nice hip toss, which actually Jackman must have worked on that, because that was an actually nice-looking hip toss. And then Dolph hits his move. What's his move? I don't know. Do either of us know?
No.
Alright, well, Dolph hits a move. Sandow rolls out.
Dolph move.
Jackman and Swagger. Yeah. So Jackman and Ziggler are, we defeated Magneto, blah, blah. It was fucking atrocious. Damien Sandow must have, like, pissed in somebody's Cheerios or something, because that dude is just being, like, you want to talk, like, oh my god, Triple H buries people? Fuck me, Damien Sandow's being buried. Yeah. I haven't seen the guy wrestle. That's the problem. So that was a fucking thing. It was atrocious.
I guess if you look at him from like he's a heel perspective, he did have a lot of rising potential. But that guy, he even won a Money in the Bank, and I missed the time when he cashed in. But
I watched that video. I watched when he cashed it in against Cena because somebody put it on Reddit on Squared Circle, and
he got Super Cena'd?
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah,
he cashes it in. He actually hit Cena with the briefcase a couple of times.
All right.
And Cena beats him in about 5 minutes.
That right there. Damien Sandow. Obviously, he must have had some kind of potential because they usually only let a guy win Money in the Bank if, he's going somewhere with it and he's a rising superstar and they plan on giving him a championship belt, to kind of add that to his statistics.
Right.
And Damien Sandow won it, had a rivalry with Rhodes about it, and cashed in and got Super Cena'd. The guy...
And then nothing was heard of him again.
He was a rising star that got shit on. And
yep.
I don't know. I guess that's that.
It's like I said, he must have he got the nod to win Money in the Bank, and then he must have missed somebody's birthday, or he called Stephanie fat or something, because Hunter fucking pulled out the shovel and has gone to town on poor Damien Sandow. So yeah, that was a thing. Like I said, Hugh Jackman maybe should be a wrestler after he's done acting, because that was a fucking awesome hit. That's the only positive that I could take away from that segment. Oh yeah, Paul Heyman comes out to the top of the ramp. This is actually Cesaro Swagger match, which I believe is happening again at Extreme Rules. Actually, it might be a triple threat after what's happened later, but we'll get there. Anyway, so Heyman, he comes out, he's talking to the crowd, they're booing him, and he's talking about how he's like, my kids think I'm funny. I'll tell you guys a joke. He's like, I'm gonna go off script and tell you guys a joke. He goes, knock knock. The crowd, who's there? Mike. Mike who? My client Brock Lesnar broke the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. I fucking about pissed myself with laughter. Just because Heyman is he works the crowd like a fucking $2,000 escort, man.
See the way you've been telling me his promos and stuff, and his whole how he comes out there and says oh, my client he defeated the Undertaker. This is what I picture Paul Heyman. The song I Just Had Sex doesn't matter, had sex. Only Paul Heyman's version doesn't matter, Brock won.
Yeah, doesn't matter, Brock won. And he repeats it over and over. Any argument, anything anybody asks him, he just goes, I'd like to remind you. It is, and that's the thing. But the funny thing is, that's all he has to say to generate heat. Because of how big of a deal it was that Taker lost at WrestleMania 30. And the WWE is using it. They're going to work every last drop out of it. And I think they should, because it was a huge fucking thing. And I think it's great that they don't want people to forget. They want people to remember. And they want somebody as annoying as Paul Heyman to remind them.
My biggest respect for Paul Heyman is just this. Extreme Rules Elimination Chamber. We need more of those. Where are those?
Yeah, we do need more Extreme Rules Elimination Chambers. The Elimination Chamber, I don't know. I have a beef with this whole pay-per-views based around match types deal. I was okay when we had pay-per-views and matches that happened at pay-per-views, not pay-per-views based around match types. Like the fact that the pay-per-view is called Elimination Chamber or called Hell in a Cell.
You do remember TLC. What it was called before that, right?
Elimination Chamber?
Yeah.
I want to say that was No Way Out, right?
You were correct. They just switched it to Elimination Chamber because I don't fucking know why, because No Way Out was way cooler, but...
I don't know why either. And then, actually, before, they used to do one... No. They changed Armageddon used to be one, too.
Armageddon was
always the last paper... Was Hell in a Cell, that's right, because it was the last one of the year, calendar year, not the year before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I have a whole beef with that too. But anyway, so Swagger and Cesaro have a match, short match mostly because I think they're saving most of the feud for Sunday. Cesaro really might be Superman. The motherfucker hit a second rope, spinning European uppercut on Swagger, and it was awesome. Also, the dude picked up Swagger and did a couple gutbuster suplexes, which was, for a dude as big as Swagger, that's pretty impressive. for Cesaro to do. Cesaro wins. Heyman and Zeb get into it. Heyman grabs Zeb's mustache, and Cesaro wins. And I said most likely we'll see a rematch on Sunday. So that was that. Next up, we got Alberto Del Rio versus Cody Rhodes. This is basically just last week the Rhodes lost the tag match to the Usos, and Cody was acting all pissy at Goldust. So I think they're finally going to have the Rhodes brothers break up. So we'll. So yeah, I think then that's the thing. They said on the WWE Network, the Rhodes brothers. They said, "Is there any animosity?" They said they did their secret handshake, and they said it stands for strength and loyalty. And it's like, well, fuck. Now you know they're gonna break up. Del Rio has completely lost his gimmick.
How do you lose your gimmick, by the way? Like, or especially a gimmick like that. He was just the guy who was, the proud Mexican who walked out and was like pro Mexico. What happened to that?
That's the thing. Well, yeah, that's the thing. He doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't have a feud. He doesn't have anywhere to go, so he doesn't talk, so he doesn't get across that he's a proud Mexican. He doesn't come in the car anymore. He doesn't have Ricardo Rodriguez announce him anymore.
Yeah, he had that beef when Ricardo tried teaming up with Rob Van Dam to help him take the World Heavyweight Championship from Del Rio. That was weird. That was really weird.
It's just like Del Rio's kind of stuck in mid-card hell right now. And Del Rio's actually pretty talented. He's not my favorite wrestler, but he's decently talented.
He's a good heel.
Yeah, he's a good heel. He was a damn good heel. He went over clean on Cody, completely clean, with the cross arm breaker. Cody somehow blames Goldie and is an asshole to him as they walk up the ramp. So obviously we're looking at most likely Cody turning heel and probably a Rhodes Brothers feud.
Cody cannot keep a tag team. Fucking him and Legacy split when him and DiBiase were a team. They broke up. When he debuted, fucking him and Hardcore Holly, his mentor, he kicks that guy in the freaking, just beats the shit out of him to join Legacy. Then there's the Sandow and Rhodes combination. I don't know if maybe there was a tag team he was in between that, but that guy just cannot maintain a face image or keep a tag team together.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's kind of the circle of life for most tag teams. We form the tag team, we look really, really strong as a tag team, we maybe win the belts, we maybe not. Actually, they did win the belts. So most likely they win the belts if they're being pushed. They lose the belts, or they look strong as champs, they lose the belts, and then they slowly decline into the breakup in the feud. It's just how the tag team wrestling works. In the business, or at least as far as I've noticed it.
Speaking of the circle of tag teams, now I'm going to go back in history a bit here. One tag team I thought that would have been the exception to that rule was the Hardys. And before both of them freaking ended their career, they had to have them go at it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Edge and Christian did it. The Dudleys have done it. The Hardy Boys have done it. I think the New Age Outlaws have done it. I'm not 100% sure on that.
But that probably happened around the DX split.
Yeah, it's just how tag team wrestling works in WWE. Other companies might be different, but also could be the same. So yeah, Cody most likely is going to turn heel, and most likely we'll see a Rhodes Brother feud.